One of the biggest questions new sellers ask is this: how long does it actually take to set up Amazon FBA? Some people make it sound like you can start selling in a weekend, while others warn that it takes months before you even see your first sale. The truth lies somewhere in the middle. And if you do not understand the timeline, you can waste weeks, even months, getting stuck on things that should be simple. In this episode, we're going to walk you through the entire process from setting up Amazon FBA, from creating your account all the way to making those first all-important sales. And I'll give you realistic timelines, the bottlenecks you should expect, and the shortcuts you can use to move faster. And make sure you stick around until the end, because the final piece of the timeline is the golden nugget, the one strategy that can literally cut months of your journey. Here is the reality. Most beginners underestimate how much is involved in setting up FBA. They hear that it's passive, automated, or quick to start, but when they actually try, they get stuck in account verification for weeks, or they spend months trying to find that perfect product that's not oversaturated, or their shipment get delayed and suddenly their 2-week plan turn into half a year. Some give up before they ever see a single sale, believing Amazon is too competitive. But the real problem is not the platform. It's the lack of realistic roadmap. If you know what to expect and how long things usually take, you can plan ahead, avoid wasting time, and set up your business without the constant frustrations of missed expectations. The very first stage is setting up your Seller Central account. On paper, it looks like it should only take a day. You fill in your business information, upload your identification, link your bank account, and you are good to go. However, Amazon verification process can slow things down if your documents do not match perfectly, or if Amazon requests additional proof. It can stretch from a few days to 1 or even 2 weeks. Sometimes as small as an address mismatch on a utility bill can create delay. That is why it's so important to double check your paperwork before you hit submit. While your account is being verified, you can save time by starting your product research. This is the stage where most sellers take the longest, because choosing the wrong product is the fastest way to fail. It's not about picking something you personally like. It's about balancing demand, competition, and profitability. Tools like Helium 10 and Jungle Scout help you analyze sales trend and review count, but still takes time to dig into the data. Although some sellers rush through this in a day, the reality is that it usually takes at least a week to really validate a product. You need to check search volume, study competitors' review, and run numbers with Amazon FBA calculator to make sure you still have at least 25% margins after fees. The key is to avoid obvious oversaturated items and instead look for niches with steady demand and enough room for a new brand to stand out. Once you have validated a product, the next stage is finding a supplier. Many beginners only think of Alibaba, but alternatives like India Mart, global sources, and even domestic suppliers can sometimes be faster or more reliable. The supplier stage usually takes 2 to 3 weeks because you do not just want a quote, you want samples. Ordering from 2 or 3 suppliers at the same time can save you weeks instead of waiting for one sample, then reject it, then ordering another. You test them in parallel, That way you can compare quality, pricing, and communication side by side. Although getting samples feel like a delay, it's critical. Skipping it can cost you months later if the actual product does not match what you thought you were ordering. Once you finalize your supplier, production then begins, usually 2 or 4 weeks depending on your order size. After that comes shipping, which is where many beginners get overwhelmed. The easiest option when you are starting out is DDP shipping. It means delivered duty paid. With DDP, your supplier or their shipping partners handles everything: freight, custom clearance, duties, and delivery straight into Amazon warehouse. Timelines vary, but most DDP shipments takes about 4 to 6 weeks from the factory to Amazon. The benefit is you are not stuck chasing paperwork or paying surprise fees. You pay one all-in price and your products simply show up in the Amazon system. That is why many sellers use DDP shipping for their first order, even if it costs a little more. The goal isn't to maximize profit right away, it's to validate demand quickly and start selling without delays. With DDP, your product can be delivered straight into Amazon warehouse in just a few weeks, which means you see results faster. Once you have proven demand and feel confident, you can place larger orders knowing that the process works. While production is happening, you should not sit idle. This is the perfect time to create and optimize your product listings. Many new sellers underestimate this stage, but your listing is your storefront. Without optimized titles, bullet points, keywords, and photos, your product will sit invisible on Amazon no matter how good it is. So creating strong listing used to take a few weeks or more, especially if you hire professional photography and wrote everything from scratch. Today, with tools like ChatGPT and AI-powered creative platforms, you can draft high-converting titles, bullet points, and descriptions in just a few hours, if not minutes. The key is feeding AI the right input: what your product does, who is it for, and the benefit that matter the most. Hey, real quick, if you are getting value from this content, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button. It literally takes 2 seconds and it helps more people discover this video, and I really appreciate it. Now I know a lot of you are trying to figure out what product to sell online, and honestly, that's the make or break decision of any e-commerce business. After 15 plus years in this game, I have cracked the code on which product category consistently perform. So I created a free resource called 50 Daily Sales. It's a cheat sheet that reveals 10 product categories that are selling 50 plus units every single day. These are not random products I picked. These are proven categories I've personally seen generate serious revenue. Look, you can spend months guessing and testing, or you can shortcut the process with what is already working. Just click on the link in the description or in the comments below and enter your name and email, and you get the cheat sheet immediately. It's completely free and it could literally change your business. Grab that now and let's get back to the content. Pair that with AI enhanced images and you can launch with a polished, optimized listing far faster and at a fraction of the traditional cost. When your product finally shipped to Amazon, there's still a waiting period. Inventory checking at Amazon Fulfillment Center can take a few days in the best case, but during peak times like Q4, it can stretch to 1 or even 2 weeks. That is why you should always pad your launch schedule. If you plan to go live in October, shipped in September. If you plan to launch before Christmas, get your stock moving in early November at the latest. And now comes the launch itself. Many beginners assume sales will start the day the listing is live. In reality, it often takes 2 to 4 weeks to build traction. You will need to run Amazon PPC ads, which means setting aside a small budget around $300 to $500 for your first month. This is not about profit yet. It's about data. PPC help you discover which keyword converts and which do not, and ultimately customer search terms. Although advertising can feel expensive at first, remember that Amazon rewards momentum. The faster you get clicks and conversions, the faster your product climbs in organic rank. That is why you should treat your launch as an investment phase, not a profit phase. So when you put this all together, you are looking at a realistic timeline of 3 to 6 months from starting your account to making consistent sale. Faster if you move efficiently, slower if you do things sequentially. However, here's the golden nugget, and this is the part most beginners miss. You do not have to do everything one after the other. You can overlap tasks while your account is being verified. Start researching products while samples are being shipped. Begin drafting your listing and sourcing photos while production is happening. Build your PPC campaigns by running tasks in parallel. You can cut your total timeline in half. What usually takes 6 to 8 months for a beginner can shrink into 2 or 3 months if you plan smartly. This is how experienced sellers launch quickly while beginners spend months just waiting. If this episode gave you clarity on how long it actually takes to start or set up Amazon FBA, do not stop here. Check out the free resource I have linked in the description. It's a simple roadmap to help you take action faster and with more confidence. Subscribe and hit the bell so you do not miss the next episode. And drop a comment below. Where are you right now on the journey? Are you still setting up your account, stuck on product research, or waiting on your first shipment? Share your stage and we might build a future episode walking through it step by step. That's it for today. Remember, FBA is not about speed for the sake of speed. It's about smart planning, realistic expectations, and overlapping tasks to save months. If you do that, you will not just launch, you will build something that lasts.